Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Welcome everyone to Sparking Change with Gigi. I'm your host, Giovanna Tarderone, and this show is brought to you by World Energy Healers. Visit us at weqhsummit.com. So today we're going to be talking about how do we change our world from the inside out. And we're going to be diving into the most important conversations about finding hope and healing and the tools that we need to really navigate those big challenges that we have in our life. When we experience these challenges, it's a calling. It's a calling for change. You know, that's my own personal experience that I'm sharing. But, you know, here we have, I'm honored to welcome our guest, Brett Cotter, an award-winning author and international recognized trauma relief expert. Brett has dedicated 25 years of helping people process and heal from the most traumatic experiences of their life. It's such a pleasure and privilege to have you here, Brett.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So I love to hear your story. You know, how did you get into this work, and what do you do to really help people start this process?
Yeah, so I got into this work in 1999. The universe was pushing me to learn how to meditate. So I started to meditate, had a life-changing experience in my first solo meditation, doing transcendental meditation.
Wow.
And then I got lucky enough to be referred to a spiritual healer in Sedona, Arizona. I realized that I had this issue with jealousy in my relationships with women. And it was around the 18-month mark where I would just get super jealous and I wanted to fix it. I was 27. I realized I was having this problem since I was 15. And lo and behold, I found myself in Sedona, Arizona, sat down with this spiritual healer, and within 5 minutes, a cellular memory surfaced from when I was 5 years old. And I was watching my parents argue exactly like I argued with all my girlfriends from age 15 to then 27.
Wow.
And when that memory surfaced, I felt all the jealousy reverberate up from my body. And I felt it viscerally. And then when the jealousy released, I felt all the anger that was fueling the jealousy. And then when the anger released, I felt the sadness that the anger was protecting. And then when the sadness released, I felt the fear of abandonment. And that released in that 90-minute session. And after that 90-minute session, jealousy never ruined another relationship in my life. So that was a life-changing event in June of 1999. And I've been like a moth to a flame to this work ever since.
Wow.
When I realized how quickly the transformation can happen.
Wow. And, you know, we don't realize that. And I've learned through Dr. Bruce Lipton, who talks about how the impact that we have from the age of like 0 to 5 or 6, where anything that occurs in our life, it's like an imprint on your DNA. And we don't even know that it exists, but we actually perform or make decisions based on that. And subconsciously, we don't even know that we're doing it until we discover. And this process of how you discovered your, you know, that programming, you know, that experience, because every experience, especially if it's impactful from, you know, like the feelings behind it is so great that you'll never forget it. It impacts your life going forward.
That's right. So the way I view trauma and what I've come to learn over the last 25 years is that when we have a traumatic event in our formative years, that creates a core belief. I can't trust her. He'll never be there for me. Things like that. And this reverberates throughout all the relationships for the rest of our lives until the day we go back and open up that original traumatic memory, express all of our feelings, and then call upon our higher power to clean it out of us. And what I found is that when we actually pick the lock to the subconscious and we serenade that original traumatic memory from the depths of the darkness within us, and it's on the surface, The light has been waiting to come through to heal me and you. So
Yes.
when that original trauma comes up and we call upon that emanating light, it's right there for us. And that's
Yes.
what the transformation was that happened for me in 1999, over 25 years ago. And that's what I facilitate in my retreats and in my one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, I know you've done a lot of work with the VA and hospitals to really help those who've gone through a traumatic experience. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have done some programs for the VA. Mostly our work is delivered to veterans through our private retreats. So we've done a lot of
Okay.
retreats at the Omega Institute. We're doing one starting on Thursday of this week, October 9th, at Kripalu in Massachusetts. We also do them routinely at the Himalayan Institute, Shivananda, Bahamas on Paradise Island. And I would say half of our retreats are veterans, first responders, and about 85% of our retreats are women, and about 15% men. And we call to people that are struggling emotionally, that might feel overwhelmed with anxiety, or they know that there's a trauma back there. Maybe they know that their issue that they have from childhood with their father
Right.
or their mother is repeating in their everyday life with their spouse or their supervisor at work, or through their kids. They see these problems repeating and they want to get to the root of it. So those are the kinds of people that come to our retreat, people that know that there's some deeper work to get to, and they might not want to do it in 10 years traditionally.
Right.
And they kind of heard through the grapevine or through shows like this about the work that we're doing.
Right.
And it does happen laser fast.
Right. And so here's the things, like, we need to want that change, right?
Yes.
We need to say, and I myself experiencing going through a breast cancer journey, it was like after that journey, it was like I wanted change. I promised that if I got a second chance at life, I would change. And when we make that decision, then it's like the higher power says, oh, you want change? Well, let me bring it to you. And then people like yourself come into my life who says, okay, you need to heal from this traumatic experience because it does leave an imprint in the heart, right? So how do we clean the heart where we can share love instead of fear? Because I was living in fear. Once you go through an experience like that, people who went through 9/11, right? The fear that came to them from that experience, it's still living in their heart. They'll never forget that. And I believe something like that will not, some people probably never take a plane ride ever again because of it, right?
Every day, the traumas we've lived through are affecting me and you in ways that we're not aware, because those core beliefs live in the subconscious level.
Yes.
And they dictate how safe you intrinsically feel in your own sin and your own skin, and how intrinsically safe you feel in the world. Right. So it's how safe am I and how safe is the world to be in? And it makes our world get smaller and smaller and smaller, our own personal world, as our comfort zone gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and it turns into an uncomfort zone. And yeah, this work is really about throwing a javelin over the wall of our comfort zone with a rope, scaling it, and then finding the green pasture on the other side. So basically it's facing your fears.
Yes.
And as you face the fears you feel emotionally that were kind of calling the shots subconsciously for how you live your life, you feel like you could breathe again. You feel more support in your spine, less responsibility and weight on your shoulders, less like ties to these overwhelming obligations that we may have taken on as a child in the role we had as in our childhood family, right? Like we have to do this and that to get the praise or the attention or unconditional love from our parents. Right. But here's the deal. You don't have to do anything to get unconditional love, because you're made of unconditional love. That's our ingredients. We're pure life force energy. And once you start to release the fear, you naturally tap into the life force energy that is me and you at our source.
Yes, I love that, because I went to school for so many years. No one ever taught me that there was life force energy within me. And this is why I'm doing the work that I do right now. And with the summit and everything else, is really sharing that there is a greater power that lives within us, right in our heart. And what is needed for us to see the world in a better to see the light of the world, because there is light, even though we see it, there's a lot of darkness going on. Behind the darkness, there's light, there's love. And, that's, like you said, it's our nature. So when we talk about doing the inner work, let's just touch on that a little bit. Doing inner work, I'll let you really explain, how do you take someone from that place where they see just darkness in their life, like, oh my God, the world is just so bad. What are we going to do? And they're very concerned and they're stressed.
Yeah.
Because stress leads to illness. Like, we can all vouch for that, right? So how do we step into, like, I want to be the change?
Yes. So with my experience, we go right into the body. So no matter what's stressing you out,
Yes.
right? We could write down the top 5 or 10 things.
Yes.
And then we circle the one thing that is most stressing you out, the one you're worried about the most. Then you ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario of that one stress I circled?
Right.
And you're like, whoa, that's pretty big, that worst case scenario. Well, what's your biggest fear about that worst case scenario? Now we've surfaced the unconscious fear that was calling the shots, that was driving your anxiety, that was creating all your worry. Now it's on the table. When the fear is on the table, you start to feel it viscerally, right? Then you touch that area of your body, wherever it is, because that's where the traumatic memories are. The original traumatic memories store in your body. Your body is like a library of your experience, not only for you, but the generations before you. That's called generational and ancestral trauma. It's all neatly packed away in your DNA. I personally feel the universe is stressing out humanity because it wants to bring that stress to the surface so we can surrender it and give it over to release it. So I feel the universe is cleaning us out. However, we're caught in a catch-22 because when we get stressed out, we're like, oh my God, I'm stressed. I'm angry. I'm blaming this person. So we're holding on to that stress. Once we realize all the stress, all the emotions are coming up to leave, then we can breathe again. It's just coming up to breathe. I don't have to identify with it. When we say, I'm stressed, I'm angry, we're putting our subconscious army to task to embody the stress. So we're calling more to us.
Yes.
So the universe is saying, okay, you want to be stressed? Because the universe doesn't say, this is bad, that's a bad thought, that's a good thought. The universe says, whatever you think, I'm going to deliver for you without any judgment.
Right.
That's what free will is. The universe is supporting our thoughts and our feelings. So our thoughts and our feelings are throwing paint on the next moment. We're always creating. Now, humanity is caught in stress mode. That's why we see stress everywhere.
Right.
So that's why it's important for you, for me, for us to clear out from the inside out, to clear out our own perspective so that we can see things clearly, not with those stressful goggles on, like the world's in shambles. The world is a beautiful place. Think about all the things that have been happening for you in the last year or so. Same thing for me. When we follow our inspiration, our intuition, we do what makes us happy. That changes life from the inside out.
Absolutely. And I think it's the universe is calling us to step into what we love to do. And most of the time when we see challenges in life, and it's because we're trying to do so many things because we feel we need to be in control, right? It's the way we are raised. Like you're an adult now, like you need to be in control of your life. That's partially true, right? Because
there is no control. You don't have any control. I don't care who you think you are, what you're doing. I don't care if you're, Jeff Bezos. We are in a stream. We are the interface between a stream of life force energy that is fueling our body, right? You want to call it your soul, your spirit, that's moving us through reality. Our brain, we're deciphering, we're seeing through our 5 senses. But the bottom line is we're source energy, we're pure life force energy, and we're goofy humans. We stumble, we fall, we trip. Once we start to learn how to laugh at ourselves and just kind of like love ourselves, that's when we actually reconnect with source, when we learn how to love ourselves. And then we start to listen, follow our inspiration, our intuition. Imagine a world where there's, what do we got? Like 8 billion people?
8 billion.
Imagine 8 billion people are doing what they love, doing what makes them happy. What is the world like? Just imagine that for a second. People are doing what they love. Here's the world to me right now. If you ever had an ant farm when you were a kid in that little glass container and you shook it, the ants lost order and they're all going crazy and haywire. That's humanity to me right now. We are shaken up, we're stressed out, we're traumatized because of ancestral generational trauma and everything going on in the world today. You watch some of the media, you watch some social media, it's like you're plugging your finger into a stressful outlet, shaking, right?
Yes.
When you look at politics or all the wars around the world, right?
Right.
My message to you, if you're sucked into that, is that if you're not living in that war zone, that's not your reality. You're kind of peering into it and getting shocked by it, right? But what are you meant to do? If you weren't born in that war zone, maybe you're meant to start painting, start writing poetry, start volunteering at a community center, start coaching, start doing something that you always felt a calling for, because you do have open space in your life to do that. It's breaking out of survival mode and just following your heart. And it could start 5 minutes a day, just drawing it out. What do I always want to do with my life?
Yeah.
You know, I've been an accountant for 30 years. I've been this, I'm about to retire, whatever your story is. What do I always want to do? Before I die, this is what I want you to think about. Before you die, what do you want to do?
Yes.
It could be a bucket list, but it also could be like a volunteer thing, a sharing thing. What is your legacy going to be, right? What is your legacy going to be? What is the thing you want to leave people with, right? So it's tuning into that importance, tuning into that soul purpose.
Yes.
How do I want to share? You know, many years ago, I moved back from California. And one of my best friends from high school, ran into him. He was 5 years into being a yoga teacher, right? Okay. And I wanted to quiz him because, again, we were in high school. We were going out doing things we shouldn't be doing. We were drinking. We were having fun. And I'm like, I got into the spirituality place, right? And I'm like, I asked him, I was like, so what's the purpose of yoga? And he goes, well, the purpose of yoga is to loosen up your body to the point where you could sit and meditate. I was like, oh, that's a pretty good answer. I said, what's the purpose of meditation? Well, to quiet your mind of thoughts so you could see how you could be in service to humanity. And that answer gave me chills. Yeah. And it just did right now.
Right. Okay.
So like, you know, getting into our soul's purpose. Why did you come here? Why did your soul come here? That's what I would love for you to think about. Why did you come here? Why are we here?
Right. Exactly.
We forget that.
Right. And I believe that we're running 100 miles an hour every day. We don't take the time to even ask ourselves that question. And, you know, I just kind of made, you know, you're connected to your soul, right? There's a connection there for you to, you know, connection, community, like it's all comes together. But when we're disconnected, we're stressed, we're suffering, right?
Yes.
So which side do you want to be on, or which side are you on? Ask yourself this. What side are you on? Are you stressed? Are you suffering? Are you unhappy?
So when you start to do what makes you happy and you follow your joy, you find your true identity. No matter what your story is, at any point in time, you could say, I reclaim my true identity just as the Creator created me, right? When we came here, wherever we came from, wherever it is our energy came from, our soul came from, we came here. When we're born, we get smacked on the butt by the doctor to start breathing. Welcome to the world. Yes. And then we just continue to absorb trauma, right? Now, if you watch a child, an infant breathe, and they're laying on their back, what part of their body is moving? It's usually their stomach is going up and down.
Up and down. Now,
you watch your spouse breathe, you watch an adult, one of your adult children breathe. When they're sleeping, it's their chest, right?
Yes.
So we, over time in our formative years, from that heartache and trauma and pain, we leave our power center, right? So the large intestine goes around the small intestine. It looks like a cell battery. This is our power center where our chi comes from. We get pushed, we lose our power. Then we're in our heart, and then it becomes unsafe to trust love because of heartache. Then we get pushed into our head, and now we get psychologically and mentally fractured because there's too much energy in the brain. So this is like the path of disconnection, right? So what we do with this work, if we go back to, you know, how we heal, is we go back to the body. We touch the tension when we get stressed out. Stress is just an opportunity to love yourself. Remember that. When you get stressed out, here's my chance.
Yes.
Light bulb goes off. I'm going to love the tension inside my body. We're mentoring and reconnecting with that tension, that emotion, touching it, breathing into it, expressing our feelings, calling upon our higher power to shine light through the emotional pain that's fueling that stress. And within minutes, you start to break free. of the stress in your body.
Yes.
That tension has been waiting to receive the light and the love and the attention. And this is one thing I want to say that I feel is really important. All emotional pain will release from the body when it's seen, heard, and loved.
Beautiful.
When it's seen, heard, and loved.
Yes. And I needed to do that for myself, right? We can't give love if we don't have it. So you think about, like, why is there stress in a relationship? Probably the other person's looking for love. But if you don't have it for yourself, you can't give it to others. So how do we get it for ourselves? Because if we don't have it, we're separated from the source of who we are. You said at the very beginning, we are love. So if we don't see love out there, it's because it's missing in here, right? So as much as we say, we can handle this, we got this, so it's a past experience, I'm over it, it's done. Well, your body's not over it, and your soul is not done with it. You're called upon to heal so that you can see life not as a victim of what's going on, but as one who can help others to see their light. We're here to shine our light for each other. Like, that is one of our main purpose for everyone on this earth. Why is the earth not feeling love right now? Because we're in a state of fear. How do we remove that fear? Is to remove the traumas that we've experienced. That's how we can shine the light on others, right?
That is such an amazing point you bring up. So I feel the karma of humanity is to love the pain in the body.
Yes.
Individually, one person at a time, one stress reaction at a time. And what does that mean to love the pain? That just means touch the tension, breathe deeply and slowly right through the tension inside your body. Use your imagination. Feel the airflow merging with the tension, right? Start to express your feelings, right? Once you feel you've expressed all the pain, that's when you call in your higher power, whatever you want to call it, source, creator, God, Buddha, Jesus, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Ham
universe,
sandwich. Yeah, anything. Mother God, Father God, right? Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, whatever your belief system is, call upon that higher power, because you are that higher power, right? Digest that. You are that. That's part of you, because we're all source energy. And the only reason why you don't believe it is because of all the traumas we've been through throughout our entire life that separated you from that source. Correct. Right? So now if we come home to our source, as we're alive here together, as we come home to that feeling of safety, that emotion of feeling protected, right? And understanding that you're not just that ant that's shaken up. You are not just that person in fear. We're embracing the fear with the love as we open up our heart to it. Now, when we open up our heart to the tension, when we're breathing deeply and slowly, expressing our feelings, we call upon a higher power, our heart starts to open and the love does the work for you. Yes. The love pours through your heart. Your heart's waiting to reopen. The love's going to naturally come through. And as you're touching the tension, it's going to pour into it, like filling up a cup. And what happens is the tension mixes with the light and the love, and it turns into expansion. And that's when you feel the layers release from you. It's like peeling back layers of an onion. Yes. So then the anger releases, the sadness releases. And when you let yourself cry and the tears are flowing, you're letting the pain go. So you're doing it right. You got to let yourself cry. It's like an emotional car wash.
Yes.
And then the fear comes up. And if you're lucky, the original traumatic memory will come up. And then what do I want you to do? Touch the pain in your body. Breathe into it. And say, I'm okay. We're okay. I'm alive. We're alive. We made it through, right? And it's going to start to release the emotional pain from the original memory. And then you break free from that old core belief. When you get to the original memory and you release those old emotions, all those core beliefs, all those old patterns fall like dominoes, just from breathing deeply and slowly and being at one with it. So you're taking the pain memory and you're just bringing the breath, the touch, your higher power into it, and it just releases from the body.
Absolutely. And this is where, like you said, you open your heart up to receive the love that you were meant to have for yourself first. I love the fact I studied Dr. Nielsen from the emotion code, to understand how the emotions get trapped in our organs. And, every illness that we have at the subatomic level, there's the energy that's stuck in that organ to help us when we go through this process of releasing, that it actually, the healing begins. You can let the healing begin once you let go of you forgive, right? You let go of the resentment, and just being more compassionate with yourself first. Like, no one's teaching us this stuff in school, right? This is not something where it's literally, you want it, you're going to have to go, like, you have to be the one to say, that's it, I'm done with this life. I need help.
So you're the knight in shining armor. No one else is coming. You're the answer. The answer is right inside of you. That book, right? Let's see if I get my finger to it. That book right there, that one has something called, that's called the Stress Is Gone method. It's on Amazon. It has this thing called the emotional body model. And because you were bringing up the organs, right?
Yes. That's so cool.
Where the tension's located in your body tells a story, right? It tells a story. So let's say you get stressed out with your boss at work or your spouse, and you feel the tension in your throat. The throat tells us that in your story, in your life, in your past, around your formative years, you knew what to say, but you held your words back anyway. When we are upset with our mother or our father, we know we want to tell them, right? But we don't say it, right? When you're upset with your spouse sometimes, or your supervisor or somebody, you know what you want to say, but you hold it back anyway. So when you have tension in your solar plexus, that's where we gave our power away, or someone took it away, right? If you feel tension in your stomach, right, that's from years of pushing your emotions down. When you said, I can't feel that, it's not safe to feel it, you push it down, you push it down.
Wow.
So our shoulders, tension in our shoulders, that's where we're holding overwhelming responsibilities and obligations. Our neck is where we hold fear of survival. Think about if you're walking in the woods, you hear a branch crack behind you, you protect your neck, right?
Yes.
So that's where we hold that. The head, a lot of us have migraines and headaches and tension in our head or temples. That's where there's too much to think about. That's where you might have 1, 2, or 3 really big stress types, and you're not dealing with any of them in a way that your subconscious agrees with or feels good about. So your subconscious is like, too much to think about, right? So in your eyes, some people, when they get stressed out, they have tension in their eyes. That's where you saw too much. Some people hold it in their face. That's where you felt like you were living in times of your life where you faced too much. You couldn't face it. So the body is amazing. I want to just show you the picture of it.
Before you do that, I just said, let me just pick let me just open up and see what message we have for the audience. So just to reiterate what you were saying, chapter 14 says, automatically manifest your destiny. And it says, align your desires with your subconscious mind and watch your wishes rise before your eyes. You just said that. What was that all about? But anyway.
So that is the chapter that we discussed, the belief embodiment technique.
Yes.
That's the final chapter of this book that has a technique in it, right? And the whole book is building up to this, because I feel like humanity is like, if you look at like a city skyline at night, right?
I love it.
If you think of a city skyline at night and there's no lights on in the buildings, but then a couple of lights are flickering on, right? As you read this book, the lights start flickering on. And when you get to that final chapter, you are able to unearth the old negative core beliefs that are recreating pain patterns in your life. You're able to release those, right? And then you're able to identify what you truly want in this life, what it is you truly want in your soul's purpose. And then we anchor in the new core beliefs that automatically start to manifest that desire, that soul purpose for you. So you actually are using the powers of your subconscious mind to create what you want in life. This is a really big breakthrough for anyone that's using it. It's a very powerful workbook.
I love it because, just on a very top level, I mean, it affects so many parts of our lives. I mean, look, we all know stress is in every area of our lives, right? So if you are thinking of, well, can it really help me with this or that? I'm just going to read a couple of things that we have here. It says, help me with traumatic events, work, finances, or school, out of control family situations, personal or family health crisis, loss of a loved one, exhaustion from placing everyone else's need before yours, caring for an elderly parent, caring for a child with special needs, abusive or I never can say this word right. Narcissistic relationships, generational or ancestral trauma, legal system or medical trauma, or being raised by abusive, addictive or neglectful parents. All of this leaves the soul hurt. And we need to clean up the soul, because at the soul level, we are pure light. We are pure love. If we see anything other than that in another person, that means we need help. We need to clean our heart. And this is how we're going to make a better world out there. Making a better world out there has nothing to do with government, has nothing to do with our school system. These are all false beliefs. The truth is that we are the world. Do you remember the song? We are the world.
Yeah.
And we are. We make up the world.
So you bring up so much.
Yeah.
One thing, the people that show up in my coaching or retreats and our membership that I really want them to anchor in is that you are the most important person in your universe. You are. And you're like, what do you mean? I'm not the most important person in the universe. Yes, you are. Because the universe that you're experiencing is a reflection. You're at the center of it. You are actually at the center of it, and you're creating your own story, right? The core beliefs are doing that automatically for you subconsciously, which is a reflection of all the childhood stuff we went through. So it's like running amok in our lives, right? But if you don't work in the president's cabinet, don't have your mind on it, because you're not involved in that job day to day. Okay. So pull back from that and focus on what the heck do I want? And you brought up like soul. At the root of my work, when I'm working one-on-one with someone in coaching or in a retreat, in a laser coaching moment, I am psychically tuning into your soul's primal pain. I feel it and I serenade it from the depths of your subconscious to the surface. When it's on the surface, your body feels it viscerally. And this is not a new feeling for you. You felt it in childhood. You felt it in your 20s, your 30s, and it reverberated throughout your whole entire life. It was some of the worst moments in your life. Okay. You feel it. And then I help you express all the emotions. And then we call upon your personal higher power, that emanating light. And when the light mixes with the tension, it turns into expansion. And that's when you feel those layers of emotional pain release. And that's when you feel that previously untapped well that's in the center of your being, that is beautiful, emanating, unconditional self-love. And that's tapping into the well. And it's like a spring that comes forth, and it just starts to spread all over your body from the inside out. And you have that inside of you, and you take that with you, and no one can take that from you once you've had that experience. Because then when you walk away from that retreat or that coaching session, you're like, I got it. I felt it come up from within me. It's part of me. It's who I am.
Yes.
It was that natural flow, and you could call upon it anytime you're stressed out, by breathing deeply and slowly, by embracing the tension, and that well just comes back up again. Yes. And it brings us back into the present moment.
I love that. I love that because yes, I studied, and we know if you're living with worry, fear, doubt, stress, you're living in the past or you're living in the future. You're not living in the present moment. And really, that's all we have is the present moment. And as you get deep into this work, we understand there's really no past.
Right? Yeah, it's only thought forms that are kind of like bouncing around our subconscious.
Yes.
There's no past or future. There's only right now. Right? There's only right now. Time was a thing that was invented by humanity.
Correct.
Right? And so science is telling us that we're made of light. Time ceases to exist at the speed of light. Okay. It slows down as we approach the speed of light, But as we are in the speed of light, time ceases to exist. Science is telling us these things, right? So think about that for a moment.
Yes.
And the reason why time was invented is to get humans to organize around the seasons, around the equinoxes, and around knowing when to harvest. And then it was taken by corporations and things like that to organize even further. But we are crunched into time, into this kind of cell. So kind of break those walls down, right? There's no past, there's no future, there's only right now. What do I want to do right now? What do I want to allow to be? What do I want to allow to come through me?
Right.
And then when we ask those questions, it's really reconnecting with love, something that you love to do, something that brings about more joy, something that brings about more connection.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I love that. Until we're listening to those little messages, I remember getting a lot of little tap on the shoulders, and that could have been by falling down the steps a couple of times, having a brain bleed. Like I had these little things happen to me that those were nudges to say, I'm on the wrong path. So there is no accident or coincidences in life. I understand that at a very deep level. And so the soul is always trying to get your attention. Your higher self is always saying, like, I'm waiting for you to recognize me. The pain that you're going through is because you're disconnected from me. These are the messages that I got. These are the messages that I hear the spiritual teachers talk about, that this is why we're not living our best self. Right. We're not, we see that everything is a struggle, or we're, in fear of what might happen. And my late mentor, Bob Proctor, he was like, fear is a mental activity that we create. Mm-hmm. And so if we do this inner work, we learn how to take that mental activity and turn fear into faith. Faith gives us courage. Faith says there's something within me that is stronger than something out there. Mm-hmm. And I had to have that kind of thinking pattern, like retrain my mind to say, the cancer is not stronger than me. I cannot make something outside of me, or in me, stronger than my soul. Mm-hmm. And so when I went into that training and changed my subconscious programming, that's where the work becomes magical.
It is. And the universe is always talking to us. It's sending us signals.
Yes.
And you mentioned like the body, sometimes our pain. The universe is, all right, so if you look at how pain affects the body, right? First, there's a discord in our spiritual energy, then it affects usually our mental energy, then it affects our emotional energy, and then that emotional energy twists up in the body, and then it affects how we're living in the world, right? So it's one of the last things, physical pain is one of the last things we get.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the universe is starting to talk to us early if we start to read the tea leaves, if we start to understand our dreams better, if we start to see the signs as the universe is talking to us and showing up right in front of us. When I do this work, I usually use the emotional body model to show somebody how the universe has been talking to them. So like, let's say somebody comes to me with back pain, and I'll say, okay, when did that back pain start? Oh, I had a car accident 5 years ago. It doesn't have anything to do with emotions. Okay, then I said, all right, let's see, 6 months before your car accident, what was going on in your life? And then they started to tell me some details. And let's say that pain is on the left side of the spine, in the middle of their back. The left side has to do with the feminine. The spine has to do with how we feel supported in life. Okay, so now we're 6 months before the accident. Did you feel supported by the female, the primary female in your life? Actually, we were going through a breakup. It was a long-term relationship. Okay, and then let me ask you this. When you were growing up, did you feel supported by your mother? No, I had a tumultuous relationship with my mother. I couldn't trust her, whatever it was.
Right.
So the universe was talking to you, and the car it even comes through accidents, like physical things.
Yes.
If you read the tea leaves, it's how deep do you want to understand and commune with the universe, right? How much do we want to align with the universe? Now think about this. 99.9% of the universe is expanding. Mm-hmm. Unconditional love feels good because it's expansive energy. Fear is painful because it's tension and constriction, and it's opposite the flow of the universe. So when we are in a state of unconditional love, self-acceptance, joy, we're in alignment with the universe. We're in the flow with the river.
Yes, I love that.
Right? And then we get caught into a state of fear because we have these mammalian bodysuits that we're in. Right? There's a stress reaction in here that's been in here for millions of years that helped us survive. But when we're in this planet where we're bumping into each other, pushing each other's buttons, stressing each other out, watching the news, watching social media, stressing each other out, stressing ourselves out, really, we're caught in that loop. So I think the main thing there, what we do with that is to embrace the tension in our body, touch it, breathe into it, express our feelings.
Yes.
So we're not living the feelings, we're just expressing them to let them out, and then reconnecting with our higher power, that nuanced part of that process, which is in a chapter in the Stress Is Gone method called the 4 Steps to Freedom.
Beautiful. You mentioned something about, again, going back to the subconscious mind. We run our life, like it's research based, right? 98%, big number, is based upon repetition. Is what we do, right? So 95% of our daily activities, and I promise you, if you take a notepad or just use your phone and write everything you do every day for 1 week, you will see that 95% of it is automatic. You ever gone to work and you feel like, how did I get here? Right? So, because really you aren't automatic. Your mind was somewhere else, but you were performing automatically without even thinking. So if that is the case, if we want change in our life, we need to tap into that automatic system, right?
And wire it for thriving, not just surviving.
Yes.
The bodysuit we inherited is programmed just to survive. Your ancestors' DNA, the things, those traumas that they lived with and did not resolve are alive inside your DNA, calling the shots. Don't go near there, that's not safe. Or if it smells like that, get away from there, right? If you get bit by a dog when you're 5 years old, things that are furry and sound like that dog or look like that dog are scary, you're going to have that automatic reaction. So everything is on autopilot. We're on autopilot.
Can I say to that point, because I will share how my own experience, when I was born in Italy, and I was in a playpen outside. And so my neighbor's dog, big black dog, came barking at me, right? A young baby in the playpen, never wanted to have animals. Grew up with no animals, did not want any animals, until my son brought home a little tiny kitten, and I had to I just got connected to that kitten, but I had to get over that fear. And not too long ago, I was outside in my home. It was dark. I needed to go to my car. I'm in a new place, and I go to my car, open my car door. I close the car door, and there's this big black dog. Wow. Okay. And I looked at it. Now I've done this inner work that we talked about here, right? So I had to release that trauma that I had when I was a baby, a young baby. And I closed the door. I saw the dog, and I screamed, "No, not this time." I'm getting the chills just telling you this. Not this time. And you know what? The dog left and went away. And I heard that. I mean, he must have been a very good trained dog. Otherwise, I probably would have been dead and not even here right now. But the point is that I cleaned up that trauma from that dog. And today I can show you pictures. I can have dogs all around me. And I love them. Plus, how do we spell dog backwards?
Right.
So, but the point is, to your point, yes, when something happens to us at a very young age, it's an imprint in our DNA.
And so I want to just bring up something that is super, super important in what you said. When you were a little kid in the playpen, where you were in control of the environment, where you were in control, we're like innocent little
That's right.
beings.
Yes.
Innocent little beings, innocent, sweet little beings. Trauma happens, right? You did the inner work and the pattern showed up. See, these things continually show up because the universe is testing us. Number one, the universe wants to have a personal relationship with us where we express our pain and feelings to it. It wants to commune with us because it is us. It's waiting for us to do that. But number two, these things will always come back to you until we do the inner work and clean it up. And then when you clean it up, the universe will test you usually one more time just to make sure you reclaimed your power, which you did. You said, no, not this time, right?
Yeah.
And you are allowing the love of having these furry, awesome creatures around you because they bring comfort, they open our heart, right?
Yes.
So you're allowing more love in. So when we do the inner work, we're reclaiming our power and we're allowing more love to fill into our lives. That's a really important component to this.
I transformed the fear of dogs into the love for dogs. I am getting one, I'm telling you. Not now, but I'm getting one. But that's what I did. I transformed that fear into love by standing my ground. Now imagine if we did that with everything in our lives. Because that's essentially what we came here to do, is share our love without fear, without judgment. You know, usually fear, judgment, what other people may think about us is preventing us to tap into the gifts and the power that we hold within.
Look, I just want to say that this whole story, you know, there's a lot of like theories out there. Are we living in a hologram? Is it a simulation? You know, we had the pleasure of hearing Deepak Chopra speak the night after I spoke at Shivananda, Bahamas, right? And he went into such a beautiful kind of share through a scientific perspective of what the universe is and what this human experience is, right? And the more you get into science, you realize we're all light, right? Everything is light. Even this computer, even the screen you're looking at, everything is our bodies, we're all made, everything's made of different frequencies of light, right? So underneath it all, what is it? Why do we come here? What's happening? What's the purpose of this? I feel it's a very courageous journey for brave souls to come here to see if they could find themselves again. It's like a challenge, right?
Yes.
And we talked about this the other day, like being on a roller coaster. And sometimes when it gets scary, you could either hold on like, not look, or you could put your hands up and just yell and go with the flow of it, right?
Yes.
So I feel like if we learn how to go with the flow, to express all that stuff that's coming out of our body, we can reground.
Yes.
So when we get to the end of this stage of the journey, we'd be like, wow, that was something else. That was awesome. Instead of, damn, I was too much in fear and I missed the point of the ride.
Right, exactly. And you talked, and we also talked about how you use the analogy of a car and us being the driver of a car. Let's go through that a little bit.
So you are the driver, not the car. And I'll prove it to you right now. Okay. The car is the body. The driver is your essence, your soul, your spirit, whatever you want to call that. Right. So let's just do this exercise. If you close your eyes and think about moving your right arm in a certain way, just think about it. Just see your right arm moving in a certain way. And now open your eyes. And now move your right arm in the way that you want to move, the way that you saw it. So my question to you is, are you your body or the thing that decides how to move it? Are you your body or the thing that decides how to move it? So now there's like the physical body, there's an emotional body, there's a mental body, there's a psychological, go through all these layers of like this prism. But at the back of it is pure consciousness, pure life force energy fueling the body, but pure consciousness that is helping navigate the soul through this reality, right? And tapping into that pure consciousness, like I'm the thing that decides how to move my body. I'm the driver, not the car. When the check engine light in your car goes on, you bring it to a mechanic. So when you're stressed, your heart starts pounding, that's your body sounding the alarm, you deal with it. You don't just brush it under the rug, because what happens if your check engine light goes on and you never deal with it? You blow your engine. Now you have a bigger problem, right? That's heart attacks. That's other health issues. That's what we're talking about, right? So addressing it from inside the body, but really identifying with the soul's pure consciousness. And that's where moment by moment you could recreate or create the reality that you want your life to be. When you start tapping into what makes you happy, right? To let that become your identity, right? You put up healthy boundaries with the energy vampires and the life force suckers that are in your life, right? You start putting up healthy boundaries to that, and you start cultivating this garden from deep within that is pure life force energy, nurturing it, cultivating it, pulling the weeds up when they show up, right? You don't got to go looking for it when it's not on the surface, but once they surface, like, oh, I'm going to dig down deep and get to the root of that weed. And then I'm going to plant a powerful seed in there of a plum tree, grapefruit tree, an orange, whatever you want to plant. So you're consciously curating your garden, which is your life, right? Which is your life.
I love that. It's bringing up whatever is stopping you from achieving whatever it is you want. It's not the universe stopping you. We got to realize we're stopping ourselves. We put the brakes on.
When we lose sight of what we want, life becomes meaningless and we become drones. We are drones in the matrix when we lose sight of what we want. Think about a dog in the backyard. So we used to have an Alaskan Malamute, right? Big old dog in the backyard. He would love to bury his bones, right?
Yeah.
And when a dog remembers where their bone is, what happens? Their tail goes right up, starts wagging, and they run over to it, they dig it up, and then they have it. We as people, we don't do that as much, right? But we have to get into that. When you know what you want, let your tail go up, start to get happy.
Yes.
Think about this. When you think about what you want, if you allow yourself to visualize having it, you start to feel the emotions of the happiness, right? Just spend more time thinking about what you want, what makes you happy, what you would love in your life, right? Spend more time cultivating that feeling of opening your heart to that. Because when you let yourself start to kind of marinate in that energy, more thoughts of how to bring it to this reality start to happen. And the reason why you want it is because your soul already has it somewhere in the universe, just not here yet, but you want it here and you deserve it here. So spending time with what you want, what makes you happy, what you really want in this life, in your mind, in your heart. And then when the universe pings you with inspiration, hey, call this person, or this person calls you and says, hey, I want to do this with you. That is in alignment with what you want. You jump on it. You act on it in the moment.
Correct.
So right foot is our inspiration and the left foot is our intuition. So it's a marriage. So our action becomes a reflection of our intuition and our inspiration.
Yes.
And that's how we start to live a more inspired, purposeful, aligned life.
Yes. And in order to connect to those intuitive factors that we all have, right? The inspired and take inspired action, we need to meditate.
Yes.
I'm sorry, because that's the only way the messages come through. When you actually shut the mind down and you can receive the messages, because you cannot receive messages if there's chaos going on in your mind, right?
Meditation.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, to me, meditation is like putting down the asphalt on the path that you're on for your life, right? Without the blacktop, without the asphalt, right? What's the road? Very bumpy. It's like a dirt road. Sometimes you have tree limbs out there. Sometimes you have big rocks. You get a flat tire. You could trip over it. You get caught in a root, right?
Yeah.
So meditation just lays down pavement for your life's path. Very important to understand that. Yes. So all that means is when you sit down to meditate, you are throwing a monkey wrench into your body's survival code and survival program. Why? Because you're telling your subconscious mind, I'm good. I'm good where I could be awake and I could not do anything. I'm so good that I could sit still and not have to worry about survival. So now your subconscious mind goes, oh, okay, they're not just a drone in the matrix anymore. They're waking up to the next level. And when you get to that next level, when you're meditating and you could touch your tension. Sometimes I like to put 2 hands on my stomach. Sometimes I lay down on my back when I'm doing it. I'm just following my breath in and out of my body. And as I'm doing that, once per breath, I like to silently say, I'm okay. When I'm doing that, I'm giving my brain and my subconscious a job to have that thought once per breath. And after about 5 minutes, everything parts. It's like the Red Seas have parted from all the other thoughts, all the chaos. And you're in this moment. You're in the universe. You're not even in here. You're not even, all of a sudden, everything opens. Those walls around you drop. And you could be feeling like you're on a stream, a gentle stream. You could feel like you're a cloud in the sky. Or sometimes I feel like I'm in the void in the universe, which is pure blackness with nothing. That is deep moments of inner peace. I actually wrote an article about that in the for Meditation Magazine, how to access the void. And the coolest thing about the void for me is when you're in it, you could ask an open-ended question to the universe and you get an answer because you're sitting in divine intelligence. You're no longer surrounded by the chatter of humanity, right?
Yes.
So meditation for me has been a path that has, it's opened up a new path for me, a way of life for me, really. And I teach 3 days a week in our membership.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's talk about how people can connect with you, because time is almost up.
Yeah.
We had a lovely conversation here.
So the biggest way is stressisgone.com. I teach along with my wife 5 days a week in our membership. Okay. And then the books are on Amazon.com. If you look my name up, Brett Cotter, you'll see these books pop up. And then we have retreats. We have one starting October 9th at Kripalu in Massachusetts. This is a trauma recovery retreat for releasing deep emotional pain from our childhood or traumatic memories in our adolescence or in our adulthood. And a new way, which I'm super excited about, is your event.
So that's the secret. I was going to leave the best for the last. So yes, Brent will come and be with us on the summit on November 1st. And, you know, my mission is really to help see this world heal, right? And we can love each other more, because where there's no love, there's separation. And when there's separation, there's fear. It's me against you. And we are all one. And that's the message of this summit, is to come and join us and listen to the experts who are there to provide you their gifts to show you that you can change and we can see this world become a better place. Right. So
you and me, we all come from an intimate sea of love. That's where we come from. Yes. Now, we just happen to pop in on humanity at a time where we live in a world of illusion during the misinformation age. So think about that for a moment.
Yes. Misinformation. So this event is going to give you the correct information.
Yes. So I feel this event is in complete alignment with the unfolding of the beauty of the universe. Yes. And I'm going to be doing some breath work in the morning. And then the thing I'm super excited about is leading a guided meditation before.
Don't give away the secret.
Okay, I can't give away the secret, but it's going to be a guided meditation that is going to bring us to a place where we can receive a divine message and commune with the divine intelligence energy of the universe, communing with God within us, but we're actually going to be able to get to see it happen before us. So it's going to be one Beautiful. Of like, I cannot wait for this moment.
Yes, I'm so excited as well. Well, Brett, thank you so much for joining us. Your words of wisdom are going to just, ripple. I can't wait. I can't wait. So I hope you guys enjoyed this show today. And don't forget to go on Amazon and check out his books and find him on Stress is Gone. We're going to get it out of the way. All right. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you again for coming. I'm your host, Giovanna Tartarone. Until next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change with Gigi.